Okay, since we are on quarantine here, there's been a lot of table tennis reviews for equipment. What we're going to do today is we are going to review some Joola equipment. Some people pronounce it Yola, some people pronounce it Joola. Either one is okay. You have a lot of these sort of reviews where people are playing with the equipment, and then you're like, okay, and then you try it, and it's sort of a little bit different than what you're expecting. We're going to review here about 5 or 6 rackets and a few different types of rubber sheets. And why I think this is going to be good is because I'm going to tell you exactly what you can expect from this equipment if you're going to use it. Now, I will start with, I have a couple of choices. This blade that that Joola has come out with, and I should get up. This is I really like this blade. And then at the end of this, I'm going to tell you what I use in my this is the XL07. Now this is an exact copy of the Joola Nature, which I really like. I really like the Nature blade. This blade I actually like even more because it's very compact. It's an all-wood blade. Super control, super stability. Cut the ball, you can do everything. So if you're an all-around player, it also is good for smashing too. You definitely may want to give this blade a shot. It is really, really good for control. I really like it. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you the reasons as to why I chose the final blade, which I'll pick at the end of this. But I like this. This is definitely one of the blades I've used in matches, and I've won a lot of matches recently with this. I really, really liked it, and I was strongly, strongly considering this blade. It's kind of tough when you have like so many different choices, but this is definitely one of my top blades for sure. The Nature I really, really liked, and I know Amy Wang was using the Nature for a long period of time. I believe she's still using it, and she may have changed rubbers, which we'll get to. I think she was using the Rhythm P for a while, and then she went to the Riser 50, which is a really, really good sheet of rubber. We're going to talk about the Riser rubbers as well. I like this blade, the XL07. It's similar to the Joola Nature blade. The control is really, really good. And there's a difference. If you play with a blade in your own club, it feels different when you're in a wide open space. So I've used combinations where, it felt really good when I was playing in a smaller space, but then I went to a bigger space and it was a little bit slower, it was a little bit different, and then the racket felt different. So my goal and what I'm looking for is to use one racket. I don't really like to change, and have that racket be able to play in all different environments. This racket I use with the old ball. With the other ball, this is the Joola Falcon. This one, Jennifer actually used this same blade to win the Pan American Games in 2015. So I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And the reason she said she really liked it is because the blade itself is a little bit longer than a regular blade. I really liked it for the older ball, and I won the Para Pan Am Games with this in 2019. It really, really was stable, and I won a lot of tournaments. As a matter of fact, I think Corey Eider, who coaches at the Lily Yip Table Tennis Center, I believe he switched to this blade. Last time I was playing with him, he was using this one. I do like it. I still think it's really, really good. Again, this is another one of the blades that I really like. But once we get to the end, I'll tell you the blade that I picked that I felt was really good. And this racket came through for me because I was playing in an important tournament. For us, the Pan American Games is like if you win that one, you're able to make it to the Paralympics. So that was really my only shot. This one, when I had the Riser 43, okay, I've got it on both sides on this, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is this Riser 43 rubber. I really like it on the backhand because I was able to get a lot of spin. And anytime somebody cut heavy with underspin, I really got a really good opening with this blade. Just really make a lot of spin. I really do like this blade, and it's very cheap too. It's like $30. But I think for the newer plastic ball, there's better options. This one's very good though. And one thing I'll mention, for me, as in my hand, I get a lot of pain in my hand. And I talk to a lot of people that have elbow pain and they have wrist pain. So I try to use combinations where I don't really want to have pain in my hand. So using this Riser 43 on my backhand, and even the 48, which I'll get to in a moment, the 43 has never caused me any pain. I will say that this Riser 48 without any exception. I mean, I really like this rubber. It's one of the, I mean, it's one of the best rubbers I've ever used for this plastic ball. For me, it's the rubber I prefer on my forehand. Although I know a lot of people are using this Pro 50. The reason I like the 48, it's a little bit lighter, and I'm not like as strong, and I can't really grip with my hand because I have a lot of damage in my right hand. So I like the fact that this riser 48 and this 43 is not as heavy as the 50. If I was playing lefty all the time and my arm was better, I definitely would use this on the forehand for sure, no question, without question. It's really, really good rubber. I hit with Sharon's racket. He was using the Intergon, which people have been talking about that I don't have here. The Intergon, I really like the feeling. His whole weight setup was 204, which was a little heavy, but it didn't bother my hand. And that racket had very good balance. So I'm definitely going to try that out in the future. Okay, so we looked at the XL07, right? Now, one of the blades that just came out from Joola is the this freeze blade, and I've had a chance to use this as well. Now, this blade, what I was told, is supposed to be an alternative to one of the butterfly blades. The what was that blade? The ALC, which I'll have. I think I have. Oh yeah, I used to use ALC. This is very old ALC, but this blade, it's similar to the ALC, but what I like about this blade is it's really good for spinning. The control is super good, and it's really good for playing. This blade is very good for playing close to the table. So if you play close to the table, you like to spin a lot, it's really good. I was still able to hit some flat smashes. I really like the control. So this was, again, another one that I used in competition that I really liked, and it's one of my top blades as well. I really, really like this one as well. There is another blade from Joola which I think is a better replacement for the Butterfly ALC, which that's the one I'm currently using, and I'll get to that again in a little bit. Now, when I got this blade, which I don't really like ordering these expensive blades. This one is the Joola hybrid, where it's like kind of like two different types of blades on each side. One of them has a higher throw, one of them has a lower throw. So I figured I would try it out, and when I got it, I was like, this, I would definitely pay $250 for this racket. This racket's really good. This is probably my friend Jerry Vasquez, who just like changes equipment like crazy, and he loves Joola equipment. He said this is the best blade he's ever used, and I think Matt did a review, Matt Harrington, on this blade. He really, really liked it as well. It's super stable, super control, and the ball does come a little different on the forehand side. The forehand side, the ball has a little higher arc, and on the backhand, it's a little bit more direct. So I'm going to hold on to this one. I really, really like this blade. The only thing is I used it with 2.0 rubber, and then I used it with Max. I think it's better with the 2.3. With the Max rubbers, with the 2.0 is a little bit slow, but with the 2.3, it was absolutely perfect. With the Joola, I used the 48 on one side, the 43 on the other. I'm going to try this again as well. I really like this, so this is definitely going to be something that I'm going to consider changing to, because I like the change. What I normally do, I'll just get out my racket, the one that I'm currently using, because what I normally do is I put 2.0 rubber on one side, and I put the Max rubber on the other side. So with this blade, I like it when the ball comes off different from the backhand and the forehand. And I remember a top player who used to do that. He put a little thinner rubber on one side. He was using pips, though. And he said it really disturbed the players. And I do find that out. So sometimes I'll play with the 2.0 on the back. I use it on the forehand if I'm smashing. And then sometimes I'll flip it, use it on the backhand, and use the Max. So the ball, the 2.0, it doesn't come out as much. And then the Max rubber comes a little bit more forward. So it really bothers the opponent. So I'll play a couple of points with the 2.0, and I'll play a couple of them with the Max, and it really does disturb them. So that's what I like about this blade. This blade, it's got a different throw. The forehand comes a little bit forward like this, and the backhand goes straight. I can tell you right now, if this is something you're going to invest in, and you're like, you know what, I'll spend $250 for a blade, I don't think you'll buy this blade and say, oh wow, this was a waste of money. This blade is good. If you don't like this blade and you're using it, I mean, I cannot help you. It is a really good blade. And again, when I used it, I didn't pay for it because I'm sponsored, but when I got it, I was like, oh, this is crazy. $250 for a blade. But once I used it, I was like, I would pay $250 for this blade. This is a good racket. I still need to use it a little bit more, this hybrid, but I do like the different change. I like that a lot. And I think it's also with the technique. So for me, I'm more direct with the backhand. I'm really directing the ball. With the forehand, I let the ball drop a little bit to hold the ball. So I really do like this. And it's definitely, don't be surprised if you see me in the Paralympics using this blade, because this blade is super good. Let me get my blade out, the one that I use. Actually, this one, this blade is the one I really like, and I'll tell you exactly why for my game. This is the Joola Zalibro blade. Now, it has a hard feeling, but this racket, the reason I like it, okay, and everybody's style is different. You got to find something that's good. I don't have a lot of power. This is the only blade that I've used, and granted, I've used a lot, where I can actually win points from middle distance, okay, and I would say, well, for my left hand, it's the best blade I've ever used. Righty, what I really like about it is sometimes when I'm a little bit middle distance, my shots don't have a lot of power and people counter me and move me. I can actually win the point with this blade from middle distance. The other thing that I like, and I used this at the U.S. Open one year, about 2 years ago, and I had some really good wins. I made round of 16 of the Open. And again, I'm not going to mention names of players, but I almost beat a player over 2,700. I played really well, and I beat 3 really good players. And I also played someone from the U.S. team. I lost 4-2, but it was close, and I was completely out of shape. I wasn't practicing, and I was like 25 pounds overweight. But the other thing that I find with this Zalibro racket is that it, like when I go to some of the bigger venues, it's slower. So, like, sometimes I'm using a racket, and I'm like, wow, this is good in my club, as I mentioned earlier. But this racket is, like, really good when I go to, like, a U.S. Open or like, a big venue. And I really like the fact that I can win the point middle distance. So, there was another time when I was completely out of shape, and I was using this exact setup, although I use flare handles. Sometimes I was trying straight because they're saying it's easier to receive the serve. I actually like the flare a lot better than the straight. I really like the flare handle on this. The straight is a little bit bigger, so if your hands are bigger, you may want to use the straight. The flare is a little bit smaller, which I have one around here somewhere, but that's the one I really like. I'm going to change to. But I used this at the Spain Para Open and the Italy Para Open, and I had really good results with this. I won some tremendous matches, and it got me a lot of ranking points. And I played some really good matches. I played one guy who was a para world champion in the Open, and we went deuce in the fifth because he was really good. And I think it was because this gave me enough power. That's my problem. I don't have a lot of power, so this is going to be. And this doesn't bother my hand at all. I used the 43 on the backhand, the 48 on the forehand. I've also played with this. These ones actually are max rubbers, but I've also played with this with 2.0 rubber on both sides. I really like this blade a lot, and this is probably going to be the blade I think I'm going to use in the Paralympics. I mean, it is just I like smashing with it. And I don't know why people, when I attack, people have trouble controlling it. I play some players that are really good, some different types of levels. A lot of players, the 2,600 players, have a lot of trouble receiving my attacks with this. So I think this is probably going to be the one I'm going to stay with. I really like this blade. I know Gao Yanjun was using this, and when I play against him, and I've played a couple of matches, and he was using this blade, he really played well at a couple of tournaments. And I just saw him last year before COVID-19, maybe about a year ago, in China, and he really played well there. And this is with the best players in the world. We had a competition where we were all playing, and he had some really good results. I saw him using this blade, and he's got the 48 on the back end, the riser 48, and the opening with the 48 is so spinny. I really like this rubber. This rubber is really stable, especially for these new balls that have like that extra coating on it. This one is really good. I'm going to try again the 43 I like on the backhand because it doesn't bother my hand, but this hasn't been bothering my hand either, this 48. And I've also been playing against somebody from Liliup's club who has improved. He was using he's the one that told me he was using the Butterfly Timo ALC, but he changed to this, and he has been playing better. He has some wins against me. I beat him, he beats me, but it's amazing. He was, I don't know, maybe 2150. I would say, I don't know what his rating is, but maybe he's close to 2400, but he's improved a lot. But he plays, this rack is good for his style because he plays all middle distance. So he makes a lot, he plays sometimes close to the table, but he plays a lot middle distance with this. So he's able to really hit strong balls, and that's the challenge with him, which I have to adjust to. He can hit winning shots, and he's off the table. I really like this one. So you're gonna probably see me with this playing in a lot of tournaments. I did try this one, this Trinity blade. I still have to get used to it a little bit more. It feels almost like the older type blades. It's pretty solid. I like the this hybrid one that I talked about a little bit better. But this one is really good too. It has a lot of power, and I think a lot of people have changed to this one as well. I got to use it a little bit more, but this one wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty good too. I like the way it's made. It's made very well because I think the handles are made in Italy, I believe, and the blades are made in Korea. I think but these handles are just really nice. Really, really, the way the blade is made is really, really solid. Really, really made well. Solid. All these are pretty solid. It's amazing. There's a Libro I like too, I mean, if you ever get mad and you throw your racket, that Libro is not going to break. I can tell you that from experience. If you're ever playing a match or you're trying to do a drill. What I like about this Libro blade in the Intergon, it comes with these cases that are pretty cool. So the blade is actually wrapped up in, in this case. So you get a case with it as well. So that's pretty cool. I find these to be pretty good, especially because some of the other cases I have are good if I'm going to put them in my backpack. Like these are good. Really good. I really like these cases. But this one is good too because sometimes you don't want to put it in your backpack. If it hits anything, this shit, really, really good. Really good. So really solid. It's not going to break your racket. No chance. I think the Intergon comes with that case and the Libro as well. So that's pretty cool. I did also try, and I'll probably stop in a couple minutes because this thing will probably, I think this will end up going a couple hours here. But I did try the, somebody recommended this blade for me, and it was, this is supposed to be similar to the Joola Fever, and it's an upgrade. I actually like this one too. And I don't know what they're doing with Joola here, but these ones are, the way they make them now, it's really, really solid. So originally, when I went to Joola, I was asking a couple people from Europe, my friends, I was like, look, I like butterfly equipment, but it's very expensive. And I was like, I need something where the quality is just as good. And they were saying, look, you go with Joola, you can't mess with the quality. And I was like, okay, sure. Tried it out, and I will say the quality of these Joola blades are super, super good. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but every single one of these is just super solid. This one I really like too as well. It's a little slower, so if you want to get more control and you play with more spin, this might be the blade for you. And this is called the Santoro KLC Outer, and I think it's they're saying that this one is similar to the Fever blade. I like this one. It has a lot of control. So look, people can take a blade and they can just like start warming up with it. I've used these blades in important competitions, so I can definitely attest to this. I've played great in 3 competitions with this blade, and this was in Europe, where I had 2 of them, and I had a U.S. Open. This blade is super. It's a little fast, so it's a little bit hard to control. I really liked it with the 2.0 rubber because you have a fast blade and you have thinner rubber. I really felt the combination. So one of the recommendations that I can make for somebody is getting this Libro and then using the Riser 48 in 2.0. You cannot go wrong with that. It's very, very good. If you want to spend a little bit more for a blade and you're like, you know what, I like to experiment, I've got some cash, you're a doctor, and you're like, hey, you know what, I've got cash coming up. This blade is very well made. I really like it's different on both sides. You're not going to order this blade and say it sucks. You're not going to do that. It is a good blade, and I may actually have to change back to this one. I really like this one. I was using it in the T2 tournament where I played against Jennifer. My challenge was I was using it with Max, who was playing well, and I was like, oh, you know, she rallies really good. Maybe I'll put the 2.0 rubber on. So I put the 2.0 rubber on. It was just a hair slow, and I wasn't used to it. So I would recommend with this blade, if you're going to use this one, you should use the 2.3. The 2.0 rubber would play probably better on the Intergon or on the Zalibro blade. But again, these blades, no matter what you say, they're so solid the way they make them. They're not cheap, you know. So I really like that. I really like the equipment. And again, these newer blades that they have, you know, especially are you know, the handle's made in Italy and the blade itself is made in Korea. I know the quality control in both of those are pretty good, but you're not gonna get these blades and say, oh wow, these blades are cheap. They're just crap. That's not gonna happen. So, and this one, this is again, we've looked at this one. You know, I haven't talked enough about. I used this one as well. This is another one. This freeze blade. Yeah, I really like this one too. It's really somebody I was giving a lesson to that I just started with, where I just gave only one lesson. He was using this one. And he really liked it. And the spinning on this one, just like adding topspin, is really, really good. And the control, if you're playing on the table and you play close to the table and you use this blade, you will like it. It's very good for close to the table. It's very good for spinning. It's super good for blocking. It's also good if you counterattack close to the table. I really like it too. I'm going to probably, I mean, there's just so many combinations. I may have to give this another try too, because I need to get the best combination for the Paralympics. You know, look, there's a lot of good rubber. You know, look, Tenergy rubber is a good rubber. It's a good sheet of rubber. The only challenge I have with that, I mean, I like Butterfly too. It's okay, is that I can't block too good with it because my hand also doesn't turn too well and I can't move the ball. So the ball has a spring. It's very hard. Like the way I lose points against these really good players, they serve, they put heavy spin, I can't control it. So with the riser rubber, the one thing that I really like about these sheets of rubber, the blocking is, which I really need, is really, really good. Like I can cut to players, they can open, I never block it out. Like the control on this, and I really need that, especially for the para players, because they don't move all that well. They still move okay, but they put really heavy spin on the ball, and it's very, very hard to control it. And you know, the other thing that I don't like about some of the other companies, some are good, some are not so good. They're making the rubber so dense and so heavy right now. So if you want to get a good blocking rubber, it's just so heavy. And also because they're harder, you're supposed to use a little bit harder rubber, but you have to engage. You know, you have to look at your technique a lot. Like for me, it's hard for me to use my whole body because I have a disability. So it depends on your technique. My backhand, I can. So I can use a harder rubber. But my forehand, I'm mainly using my hand. So I need a little bit of a softer rubber. But I like this one. A lot of people are using this Pro 50 on the forehand. I hit with this on the Intergon blade. And this may be something I got to try as well. This rubber's really good. If you put this on the forehand and you don't like it, you're like, oh, it's no good. I don't know. I cannot help you. This rubber is very good for forehand. Very good. Almost all the players are using it. I know Jennifer switched to this. I think she put this on the backhand. I know that there's a lot of players that use this. Amy Wang changed to it. There's a lot of good players. Nobody's used this rubber and said it wasn't good. So, yeah, this is definitely a good one. And I would say, yeah, I think overall, there's also the Riser 45, which I like as well. It's in between, I guess I would say, the 48 and the 43. But one thing you'll notice, and I don't know if I can do it here, if I can push it down, but these rubbers, they're you know, they're not cheap. They're very stable. They have good density on them. And I like the way these riser rubbers are made. I also like, you know, I like some of the other rubbers. Like I like the Risen P as well, and some of the other ones. But these ones, if you notice, even this is you know, look how these are, like, you can't even tear them. They're like, you know, they're really stable. You know, especially it's 48. This 48, this is the best rubber. I mean, it's the best rubber I've used for this ball for sure. So this is, I'm gonna have to go with the 48 on the Max. The Max 48 is really, really good. I really like this rubber. The other one that you'll find, the 43, you'll find is a little softer. See if I have yeah, the 43. These are 48s, 48. Yeah, 48. The 43 is a little bit softer. You know what? I'll take one off. I think I have one on this blade because I'm going to put 2.0 rubber on this blade. What did I do with that one? So yeah, the 40, Let me see if this is it. Yeah. So I'll take this off, and one thing you can see, actually, I'll do this here. All right, in real time, you can see that these blades, and this is a Libero blade, okay? If I take the rubber off this blade, it comes off super easy. The blades are super solid. I've had this blade for years. I mean, this is when it first came out. This is at least, I must have had this at least 2 years. Switching, trying different combinations. You see how easy this rubber comes off? This blade, again, look at this. It's super solid. You know, so these blades are not cheap. You see it comes right off. There's never any, you know, what I really didn't like about some of the other companies, and some of them do that, is, you know, you take the rubber off and then the blade, it just rips, especially because the glue is heavier. This blade is super solid. I've never put any varnish. I don't put any boost on it. And I put I usually put 2 coats of glue on the blade, and then I put 3 on the rubber, but I make them light. So these are good. This is a 48. Oh, this is a 2.0 rubber. Okay. And you can see that. I mean, it's a very, very solid. This blade is very solid. All the Joola stuff is solid. Now, the point is that I took this off because this rubber is a little softer. And for me, because I have pain on my back, on my right arm, I like to, and I'm going to stop this video at 30 minutes because it'll probably go a couple hours. This one I really like because it sinks in the ball. The opening is good on it. And when I use this, and that was with this racket in the, this case is actually pretty good. In this, with this racket, when I open with this rubber, this 43, and anyone that's used this will tell you this. I don't care what type of plastic ball you're using. The amount of spin on the first ball is really, really good. I had Coriato using this racket. He really, really liked it, but he liked that 43 rubber. So when you'll find, it's a really good backhand rubber. You can't put this rubber on the backhand and say it's not good. The opening is good. The blocking, because it's a little bit softer, it's easier to block. It's easier to control, and the punch, if you smash with the backhand, it's really, really good. I really like this. This really came through for me a lot. So my choice that I'll let you know is, I mean, it's just difficult because you have so many good combinations, but you need one that's going to be good in all of the areas. I'm probably going to end up using this Libero racket, and I'm probably going to do the 2-0 maybe on both sides, or I'll do 2-0 on forehand, max on backhand, because I have really good spin with this. The way the 48 plays on this Libero, the 48 max, this is 2.0, but the 48 max on this, it really has a lot of spin. I mean, I like to put, I think for me, I've been playing really well with the max rubber on the backhand and the 2-0 on the forehand. I change sometimes because it allows me, I stay close to the table with the 2-0 on the forehand. So you got to find out what's good for you. The advice that I would give, okay, there's a couple of things. We'll finish up with a little table tennis advice. If you guys got through the video this far, that I commend you. That's amazing. You have to look at when you attack the ball, when you're choosing equipment, okay? And maybe I'll make another video and try to do a little bit about that. If people, whatever, if we have comments in this video and people want another video, we'll definitely do it. You have to look at, when you're contacting the ball, are you using your entire body? Just remember, you have to use both shoulders, right? Both shoulders have to move when you're making that. Or are you just using your hand, right? Sometimes, you know, that's the technique we have. I have nerve damage all over my right side, so it's very hard for me to get that turn. On the backhand, I can do it, but also it's hard because I have a full ACL tear on the right leg. So I use my body more on the backhand, but my forehand, it's hard to get that turn, especially also my spine and stuff. So I know that with the equipment, if I have a very, very hard rubber on my forehand, when you have a hard rubber, you have to engage it more to use it. You have to use your whole body. So I don't put so much of a hard rubber. That's really why I can tell you right now, the Riser 48 on the forehand, I mean, that's probably the best rubber I've ever used. I really, really like that rubber because I don't have to engage it so much. And you can see it's dense, but it's not super hard. So I can put my finger in there. It's not super hard, but it's not soft. If you look at the 43, it goes in a little bit more. It's a little bit softer. But that I like for the backhand because the problem with my backhand, my arm is locked. So the way I hold the racket, I can't. If I hold it normally like this, I can't make a stroke. It's very difficult because my arm is locked. So I have to do this, and I have to change in my fingers to be able to hit the ball. So I may have to do that, and it causes me a lot of pain in my wrist if the rubber is too hard on the backhand. At the same time, if I have a combination that's completely too light on the forehand, I get pain inside here in my elbow. So I have to find the right, but that's a whole big mess. So that's why I like the soft rubber. I like the soft rubber. The control is good, and again, when I'm playing, if I have my hand like this here, because again, there's a lot of damage inside here and bone tumors and all that stuff. So if I have my hand here, then I'm restricted. See, I can't move this up and down. I can't move that up. So now if someone's playing a backhand, I have to do this in order to block it, right? And then sometimes in order to spin, I need to change all the time. I have to change. So the soft rubber doesn't give me pain, and it allows me to control the ball a little bit better. But also sometimes I use the 2.0 rubber as well. It's tough. It's tough to figure it out, but I like the 2.0 on the faster blade like this. And I think that's the challenge with some of these. Joola makes a lot of good rackets. They make a lot of good stuff, so you have so many choices. So you have to figure out what's good for you. So the first thing is, do you use your whole body? Do you just use your hand, right? If you're using your entire body, you're going to want to use a little bit of a harder rubber because you can engage it and use it. If you're not, and you're really not getting both your shoulders and not, that harder rubber, it's not really going to be useful for you, right? So, if you're using your whole body, I definitely recommend using the Riser 50 on the forehand. It's a really good rubber. If I was using my body more on this, I would use the 50. But again, you can't go wrong with the 48. The 48 is a great backhand rubber. It's a great forehand rubber. If you want something a little softer on the backhand, do the 43. So the things that I recommend for Joola as far as the equipment, 48 on the forehand max. If you use this rubber and you're like, oh, this thing is not good, then I don't know. Then don't even look at the reviews. This rubber is tremendously exceptional. This rubber is really good. And I would go as far as to say, and I've used a lot of stuff, it's probably the best rubber, definitely for this ball. I don't know about of all time. That would be a pushing it. But for this plastic ball, especially they put that coating, that new coating, I don't even have a ball here, but this rubber for me is the best rubber that I've used. I really like it, and I like it because of the weight. A lot of people like the 50. I think that one's good too. It's just a tad heavy for me. Now the 43 I really like on the backhand as well. But the 48 to me is I think it's the best rubber they make, Joola makes, for weight-wise, because I don't want to get the racket so heavy. The professionals, years ago, I believe the weight they were trying to use was about 185, the total racket weight, grams, maybe 190. My setup, usually I can't use more than 180, so I'm usually about 176. So I have a problem with that. I have to use lighter setup, which is not the best, but at the same time, my hand speed is faster. So you have the lighter setup, your hand speed is faster. You have the heavier setup, and you're gonna be able to get more spin. But you have to be careful. If you have the setup that's too light, you may get pain in your elbow. So be aware of that. If the setup is too heavy, you may get pain in your wrist. So for those people that play with discomfort or pain, I would recommend finding the balance. So that's the final thing I'll say is that with the Zalibro, use the 48, the flare handle, the 48 on the forehand, and the 43 on the backhand, you will not get pain. I can tell you that right now. You are not going to get pain at all. The people that have been using the Intergon have said they felt fine. They've been good. I haven't really used it extensively. I'm probably going to try that one as well, because I think that could play well with the 48 2.0 rubber on it. One of my friends, Jerry Vasquez, was using the Intergon. He really, really likes it, and he played really, really well with it. But again, he really likes that 50, that Riser 50. He likes that on the forehand, and he really likes the 48. So I think we'll wrap it up. If anybody has any messages or questions about the equipment, send me a message, and I will give you a detailed response. If you want to send video, if you've gotten this far, then you're probably pretty serious about table tennis. If you want to send video of yourself playing, if you have questions, you can look for me on Facebook Messenger. Just send me a message. I will respond to it. I will look at your video. I'm a little bit, I think, because I've done some video analysis, so we probably have about maybe 17 people in front of you, depending on how many people respond, because I will get to everybody, but we had such a large response with the video analysis that I'm still working on it. So I think I've got 17 videos to analyze, which hopefully I'll be done by this weekend. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time. Again, there's a lot of good table tennis companies out there. All have all good stuff. I really like Joola because of their quality control. The quality on the rackets and the rubbers are good. And it's been dependable for me. Like, I know there's a lot of stuff, but I've played in international competition with this equipment. And I've won matches like where it really counted for me. Everybody has their matches they want to win. I remember when I was coming up, I set goals. I wanted to win the under 2000. I wanted to win the under 1600. I wanted to win some doubles matches, whatever it might be. Everybody has their goals. And for me, my goals and my focus a lot is on para because I'm very competitive there. And it's something that I've always done. So I do have a lot of upcoming goals. And to be where I am, I'm going to be representing the United States in the 2021 Paralympics, and I had to win very difficult championships to do that, and I used the Joola equipment to do it, and it came through for me, so I'm going to continue using it. And again, I am a sponsored player, and you could say, all right, there's a bias, he's a sponsored player. I don't care if they cancel the sponsorship. I don't care if they tell me, all right, the sponsorship is gone. I will not. I will be using this Riser 48 rubber. This rubber is really good. I like the way it blocks. I like the way it spins. To get the spin off it. So this rubber is just so stable, especially because the balls change a lot in the venues. So I'm not changing this. There's no chance I'm going to change this rubber. And I do like this Libro because it's the only racket I've used so far where I can win points middle distance. I've used a lot of stuff. And this one, I find myself sometimes I'm pushed off the table and I can win the point. You'll see if you use this racket, this Libro racket, you have to get used to blocking with it. Oh, the other thing I'll say is when you block with it, if you have the 2-0, you'll be fine. You put all the balls on the table. It's not going to be a problem. But if you use the max, like I do on the backhand and sometimes the forehand, you should probably add spin to the ball because it's a little bit fast, right? So the blocking, if you hit it flat, it's going to be a little hard to control. If you add topspin, it's going to go on. If you have the 2-0 rubber, it's going to be fine. It'll be fine. So that's my recommendation. All right, I hope everybody does well. Look forward to hearing from everybody. And again, do not be afraid of sending me a message. I'll look at some of the stuff. I'll give you some advice, about, again, it's about, constructing points. It's about, trying to find out, I'd rather have somebody, like I was saying, do something three or four things really good than 20 or 30 things good. Try to focus on the combinations, the patterns that you have good, and then try to use those and put them in the match. So for me, I serve in my backhand, I open, and I have a couple combinations that I do really well, about 5 or 6. And if I can put them on my opponent, I have a better chance to win the point. All right, everybody, be well and stay safe. I am going to upload this to YouTube and see if it works. And maybe we'll do another video about any topics if you put it in the comments, because I think it's going to be on YouTube. Give me some topics that you want. I'll try to do a video. If we get some responses, I'll do a couple of videos. All right, thanks. Be well, and everybody stay safe.